So you're headed to Southeast Asia, maybe like Thailand, Vietnam, Bali, anywhere, and you're thinking, should I rent a scooter? The short answer is yes. The long answer is yes, but there's also a few things you need to know first. So let's break down how to rent a moped like a pro, how to not get scammed, and most importantly, how to do it legally and safely. Let's go. We are Fletch and DeFi, and together with our 2 kids, we sold it all and left the UK to head off on an adventure of travel, experiences, and just living. We left the UK and headed off to Bali first, then to Southeast Asia and beyond. We're going to share our journey with you, the ups, the downs, the highs, the lows, the amazing things we see, but also what it's really like being a family that travels. We'll also be sharing practical tips, helpful hints, and showing you the best places for you to explore so that you can take something interesting and hopefully helpful from our videos. So if you like this type of content, hit the bell, like and subscribe, and head off on this adventure with us. So the first thing to talk about why would you rent a moped? So when you travel from the West, from Europe, even Australia, etc., and you're arriving in pretty much any country in Southeast Asia, so Thailand, Vietnam, Bali, wherever, the roads are a shock. There are pretty much mopeds everywhere, and I mean everywhere. They can be going the right way, the wrong way, up the pavements, across the fields, literally anywhere you go. So this is really something to think about when you're riding a moped. First off, it can be a little bit hairy, and a lot of rules that you know about the road back home, bin them, because basically there'll be people not following rules, etc., and you can be safe on a moped and someone will just drive in front of you and cut you up, etc. Now once you do get used to riding a moped, they're a great way to get around. They're quick, they're practical, and you can get where you need to go and you can get there easily, and they are the mode of choice in Thailand and Southeast Asia for literally millions of people. Thailand alone has got nearly 22 million registered motorcycles. So first up, where can you hire mopeds? Now if you're in somewhere super touristy, so think places like Krabi, Koh Samui, etc., then you're going to have moped hire places literally every few doors. You can walk down the main streets and there's going to be places to just walk into and hire a moped. If you're in less touristy areas or major cities like Bangkok, Chiang Mai, etc., you're going to require a bit more hunting. So a good thing to do is check on local Facebook groups, etc., and just asking for recommendations for moped hire can see you inundated responses. So it is good to check through these just to make sure you've got legit recommendations. So when you go into a moped hire place, you're going to see a price list either on the wall or just on the desk. What you can also do is book online through larger, more established businesses. You can normally find these just by doing a search online for the area. Now this can be good and it can be handy as you can check the reviews, read through the details and choose at your leisure. It can also feel a bit less pressured because sometimes when you walk into a place and you're having a face-to-face conversation with lots going on, it can feel a bit high pressure. So it's good to look through a website, familiarise yourself with prices and the type of moped that you want first so you have a good idea. Now speaking of types of moped, next up you're going to want to know about the choices of mopeds. So basically what you're looking at here is the engine size, as this affects the power and therefore the speed of the moped or the bike that you're looking at. Now what this will be, it's a number followed by cc, which, fact alert, actually means the cubic centimetres of the engine. So it's the size of it and it refers to the amount of air and fuel that can be pushed through the cylinders in the engine. A bigger engine means more power and a faster moped. So prices for moped hire are usually quoted by the day. Now what you can do is hire for longer, and if you can hire for a week or a month, you're generally going to get a better price. Now some places will show the price that's for longer, others you may have to ask and negotiate. But quite often what you can also do is ask your hotel about or wherever you're staying about moped hire and they can sort this for you. This can be handy as usually you'll have already shared your passport with your hotel, etc. Now just bear in mind that depending on where you're staying, the quality of the mopeds can vary a lot. We were staying on Koh Samui, which is a much quieter island, and we rented a moped through our accommodation. It was super cheap as it was only 4,000 Thai baht for the month. Price is on screen now, but it was super old. The brakes weren't great, and then when they delivered it, they didn't bring the helmets. So then we had to ask for helmets, then we had to wait for helmets. So that was all a bit of a faff. It also broke down, but more on breakdowns and helmets later on. So what are the types of prices and what sort of costs are you looking at? Now there's different types of moped out there and the prices vary just as much as the type of moped is going to be and the type of terrain you're going to be riding on. So as a guide, a basic scooter is a 110 to 125cc, which is good for just city rides, nipping to the beach, doing quick errands. For this, you're looking at around 250 to 400 baht per day. When you get to mid-range, they're a bit bigger, 150 to 250cc. They've got a bit more power, they're comfier seats, they've got more space. These are a bit better if you're doing things like day trips and going up to the hills. For these, you're looking about 500 to 700 bahts per day. Once you get over 300cc, you're kind of talking about bigger bikes. Now you're talking full-on road trip material. If you're going up mountain passes, if you're going on highways, etc. For these, you're looking at around 1,000 baht per month. Now these do require much more experience, so take care if you're thinking about renting one of these. You will also require a full bike license, more on bike licenses later. So as I said, if you can rent for the week or the month, the prices are much better. Now it does vary a lot depending on where you go, but as a rough guide, for a weekly hire, you're probably looking at around a 25% discount. For a monthly hire, then around a 50% discount on the day price. So if you've got a moped that costs around 300 baht for the day, then for a weekly price, you're going to be looking at around 1,500 for that for the week. If you can rent for the month, then you should be looking at around a 50% price reduction. So around 4,500 baht per month. Again, this does vary, so it pays to shop around. So you've chosen your moped, you've agreed your price, you know how long it's going to be, what should you be checking? The things that you should check about before you ride off, and before you ride off into paradise, is what you should do is do a quick inspection first off. Check out for the tyres. Have they got decent tread, no cracks? Ball tyres are slippery and not good. Check the brakes, squeeze them, make sure they work. Check all of your lights, your headlights, tail lights and indicators, test everything. Also, check petrol. Now what you normally have to do is, when you take a moped, if you're on 2 bars of petrol, you have to return with 2 bars of petrol. So take a picture of that to remind yourself. Also, importantly, check your helmet. Make sure, because it's important to have the helmet that fits. Here's a little tip, try and get a full face helmet, so one that covers the whole face, or at least make sure it's got a visor, preferably a clear one. Also, check for scratches, because trust me, if you go riding in the evening, you're going to want a visor on, because you're going to get full of bugs. I did wear sunglasses once, but the visibility is terrible. And like I said, check for scratches, because if the visor is super scratched, when it gets dark and it got headlight reflecting on them, or if you're driving in the rain, you are not going to be able to see a thing. Another quick one, if you can do, check the oil level as well, because that's just good to protect your engine and save against any problems later on. Super important is the paperwork and the licenses. Now this is a real big one, this, because in Southeast Asia the police do regular checks, and they are going to be checking for a few things. They're going to be making sure you've got a helmet, they're going to want to see your passport or a copy of it. Now just be careful, because some shops do also want to keep your passport as a deposit instead of a cash deposit. It's probably best to do a cash deposit just so you've always got your passport that you need. And again, onto licenses, you should have a valid license from your own country. Now, if you're riding anything over 50cc legally, this should be a motorcycle license that you have, and also your international driving permit, your IDP, with a motorcycle endorsement. Now, this is a whole other topic that we've done in another video, so I'm going to link to that in the just up above and in the comments, etc., where we explain about the international driving permit. You need it, it can save you a whole lot of money. Now, to be totally honest, I'm pretty sure that 99.9% of them foreigners that are riding a moped over here in Thailand do not have a valid motorcycle license, but everyone is still doing it. So it's one of those things that kind of happens. Also, if the police do stop you, you are going to get fined. So this is a decision that's totally up to you to decide what you want to do about this. Next up, always check the rental contracts. Now, not all shops are going to be saying by this, there's no standard, so make sure you read through the contract, check the fine print. Does it include repairs? Most shops will cover breakdowns except for tyres. Also check, will they pick you up if it breaks down? What a lot will do is, if you're within like 50 kilometers, for example, they will come and pick you up and take you back. For example, when our motorcycle broke down on Koh Lanta, the rental place came and picked it up, they repaired it and they bought it straight back. Also, double check anything you need, ask any questions before signing to it, because once you've agreed to it, you are stuck to it. Also, take the WhatsApp number or the phone number of the rental place, because if you break down where you're out and about, you are going to want to be able to contact them to get them to pick you up. Next, and this is super important, document everything. So before you ride off on this moped or the bike, grab your phone, do a walk around video, capture any scratches, capture any dents, anything that looks sketchy. The reason for that is because when you go back, if you get accused, for example, of scratching it or banging it or anything, you want to have the proof there of what it was, what state it was in before you took it, and you can prove that you're not responsible for any of these scratches, etc. So a few final tips. Now, riding a moped is great. It gives you super amounts of freedom, so you can go beyond the tourist traps, find hidden waterfalls, find quiet beaches and mountain temples, but you've got to do it safely. So the rules are, always wear your helmet, don't drink or drugs and ride, respect the local traffic laws, and if you're new to scooters, maybe practice on a quiet street first. Now, we are a travelling family, and so one big question we get asked a lot is, should you have kids on a moped? Now, when you're driving around Southeast Asia, you're going to see whole families on mopeds, the same moped. I think the record that we've seen is 5 people on moped with a dog. Now, we wouldn't recommend going that crazy, but we have rode on the moped with Bertie on it as well. So, I mean, we've just had to practice that first. So we went on a side street, we were really careful, we took it really slow, we rode with him on the back, got him used to it, we got him riding in between us as well. We also made a point to ask for kids' helmets so that he had a helmet that would fit him and would fit him securely. Now, just be aware that if you start having more people on, even with a passenger on it, it makes the moped much slower, more top heavy and a bit harder to handle. So again, practice. Now, Fletch doesn't like to to ride over here, so I've been doing all the riding. And another little tip, it's a bit annoying, but what we have done is shuttle runs. So I'll ride to the beach with one person on the back, come back, take the next, etc. It's a bit of a pain, but it means you're a bit safe because there's only 2 of you on the moped at any one time. So that's the guide to mopeds. I am going to do another video all about getting petrol because it varies in different Southeast Asian videos, so keep an eye out for the petrol video. I hope you've enjoyed this. The best thing to do out there is stay safe. If you've got any questions about riding a moped, etc., by all means pop them in the comments, as we're always on hand to help any fellow travellers. So don't forget to like and subscribe for more tips on travel all around Southeast Asia and much more.